During an argument, my fiance looked me in the eye and said, "Know your place. You should be grateful I lowered my standards for you." I told her she was right. Then I ended the relationship in a way she never saw coming. Hello, Reddit I plus here. I still remember the exact sentence that killed my relationship. Not the screaming before it, not the silence after. Just 7 words delivered with a disgusted little smile. Know your place, I lowered myself for you. That was it. One sentence, one tiny sentence that made me realize the woman I was about to marry never actually respected me. I'm 34, work as a diesel technician, and own more tools than furniture. I rebuild engines, diagnose electrical nightmares, and spend half my life smelling like grease and metal. It's hard work, but it pays well. Very well. My ex-fiancée, Sabrina, was 31 and worked in luxury real estate. Image was everything to her. The right clothes, the right restaurants, the right photos online. She treated life like she was curating a brand instead of living it. At first, I thought we balanced each other out. I was wrong. The argument started over something stupid. It always does. I'd come home after a brutal 12-hour shift dealing with a fleet truck whose wiring looked like someone let raccoons design it. I was exhausted, filthy, starving, and just wanted a shower. When I walked into the apartment, Sabrina was already irritated. Apparently, one of her co-workers had asked what I did for a living during some rooftop networking party, and she'd been too embarrassed to answer honestly. That should have been my warning. Instead, I asked what she meant. Big mistake. She folded her arms and looked me up and down like I was something she scraped off her shoe. "You don't get it," she snapped. "The people I work with date surgeons, attorneys, executives. I tell them my fiancé fixes trucks for a living." I laughed once because I genuinely thought she was joking. She wasn't. "You smell like oil all the time," she continued. "Your hands are disgusting. You barely dress properly. I lowered my standards for you because I thought you had potential, but honestly, you should be grateful someone like me even gave you a chance." The room went completely still. I remember hearing the hum of the refrigerator, traffic outside, my own heartbeat. And suddenly, every weird comment she'd ever made clicked into place all at once. The jokes about my clothes, the comments about my coworkers, the way she introduced me as working with vehicles instead of saying mechanic, the way her parents talked to me like I was a teenager who mowed lawns for pocket money. I just stared at her. And the craziest part? I didn't feel angry, not immediately. It felt more like waking up, like I'd finally seen something clearly for the first time. So I smiled. Not a fake smile either, a calm one. "You're right," I said. She blinked. "What?" "You're absolutely right. You should be with someone better suited for your standards." Her expression shifted instantly because that wasn't the reaction she expected. People like Sabrina feed on emotional begging. They want tears, arguments, pleading. I gave her none of it. I grabbed my keys off the counter. Then I said the line that apparently still haunts her according to mutual friends. "You'll never have to be embarrassed by me again." And I walked out. No yelling, no slammed doors, nothing. I left her standing in that kitchen staring at me like her script had suddenly changed genres. The next morning at the garage, my foreman took one look at me and said, "You finally dumped the fashion dictator?" I snorted. More mutual destruction. By lunch, everyone knew, and every single guy there had the same reaction. Good riddance. One of the older mechanics, a giant bear of a man named Vincent, shook his head and said something that stuck with me. A person who looks down on honest work will eventually look down on you for breathing. Turns out he was right. For about 2 weeks, Sabrina acted like she didn't care. Then reality kicked in. See, she liked to pretend she was independent, but the truth was ugly. I paid most of the rent, covered groceries, handled her car repairs, paid for vacations, internet, utilities. Random baby, "Can you help me this month?" Emergencies. Without me there, her lifestyle started collapsing fast. That's when the messages started. At first they were subtle. I think we both overreacted. Then, "I miss you." Then, "You really threw us away over one argument?" My favorite was, "You're being immature." That one arrived 3 days after she mailed back my hoodie dramatically sprayed with my cologne. I ignored everything. Then she escalated. She started showing up places, the gym, the grocery store, even outside my job once pretending she happened to be nearby. My best friend Malik told me to save every message and install cameras at my new place just in case. I thought he was exaggerating. He wasn't. A few months later, life honestly got better fast. I got promoted to lead diagnostic tech, bought my first house, started sleeping better, started smiling more. And somewhere along the way, I got close with someone named Iris from our supplier warehouse. Iris was nothing like Sabrina. No fake perfection, no performance. First date we ever had, she showed up in steel toe boots because she'd come straight from inventory. I knew immediately she was more real than my ex had ever been. Then came the barbecue. The barbecue, Jesus Christ. That's where everything exploded. I'd invited coworkers and friends over to celebrate the new house, music playing, burgers on the grill, coolers everywhere. just a good night. Iris was next to me, arguing with one of my coworkers about whether classic diesel engines were tougher than modern ones. Then suddenly the entire mood shifted, because Sabrina walked through my backyard gate like she was entering a movie scene. Tight designer dress, full makeup, heels sinking into my grass, and that fake polished smile she used whenever she wanted something. Conversations started dying one by one as people noticed her. She walked straight toward me, holding a bottle of wine like some kind of peace offering. "Can we talk privately?" she asked. "No," I answered immediately. That caught her off guard. Her eyes flicked toward Iris, standing beside me. Then she smiled harder. "I think we owe each other a mature conversation." "We don't," I said. The silence around us was brutal. Finally, she lowered her voice dramatically. "I'm willing to forgive everything and start over." I actually laughed out loud. Several people did too. Her face tightened. "You think this is funny?" "No," I replied. "I think it's interesting you suddenly respect mechanics now that one owns a house." That hit hard. You could literally see it land. She started spiraling after that, talking too fast, saying I'd changed, saying my new friends were poisoning me against her. Then she made the biggest mistake possible. She looked at Iris and said, "You don't understand him like I do." Iris took one sip of her drink and smiled politely. "No," she said. "I just understand basic respect." Absolute silence. Sabrina looked around and realized nobody was on her side, not one person. My coworkers looked disgusted. My neighbors looked uncomfortable. Even mutual friends avoided eye contact. Because once someone shows people who they really are, it's hard to shove the mask back on. That's when Sabrina finally snapped. She pointed at me and shouted, "You were supposed to need me." And there it was, the truth. Not love, need, control, status, dependency. She never wanted a partner. She wanted someone she could stand on top of and still call herself generous for dating. I walked her to the gate calmly while she cried and ranted behind me. Before leaving, she looked at my house, my friends, the life around me, and quietly asked, "So that's it?" I nodded. "Yeah, that's it." Then I closed the gate. And for the first time in years, I felt completely at peace.